So Fate, which versus battles do you want to start in, or do this in, or zone? Which zone?
You can go in zone 1.
All right, zone 1. All right, do you want to start off with your premises, or do you want me to start? Because I don't really care who starts.
You can start.
All right, so my premises is that Bill would use all of his hexes, all of his defensive, all his offensive, all of his self. Use all of his hexes that he can to try to take this W. That's my premises. You can go. What's yours?
Okay, my premise is that hero will show Bill the meaning of Saiyan might.
All right. So, do you want to start with your first win con, or do you want me to start?
I think I'll start with like the win con first.
All right.
Okay, so my first win con is that start small. First win con is that he's going to use the first win con is that the hero is going to use the spirit bomb on Bill Cipher to disintegrate him.
All right. So how will this disintegrate him again?
Oh wait, the spirit bomb works. Wait, wow. Let me check it again.
Okay, so before you continue, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but before you continue, I just want to remind you that this is equal stats. So if you try to argue any AP type stuff, that wouldn't really work here, since we're equal and whatnot.
No, it wouldn't be AP. I wasn't going to say AP. It would disintegrate him because it would disintegrate him due to it being able to dissipate and separate negative energies. And since Bill is like chaotic, actually wait, and since because it can be used to like, it's basically used to destroy negative entities and spirits. That's like why the spirit bomb would. That's why I said it would disintegrate him, not because of like the attack power of it, but because of how the nature of it, the positivity of the spirit bomb and the Geeky Dama, like the, I think it's called Geeky energy. How it does, and how it's efficient at dealing with negative entities.
Okay, so basically, I have two things I can argue. One. Okay. From my knowledge on Dragon Ball, unless you can prove me wrong with Hero, with Dragon Ball, it takes you a surprisingly long time to actually get the Spirit Bomb running, and you're just left open. You're just keeping your arms in the air like you just don't care while charging it. So I would argue that you would just like be open while I just hit you with like my best hacks is. That's number one. Number two, I would argue that because this is playing for Bill, I would just argue that I would teleport away from the spirit bomb whenever it hits me, because the spirit bomb is actually pretty a bit slow because of like how huge it is and whatnot. So I would argue that one, I would just hit you while you're off guard because you're just basically open at that point. And two, if you do throw the spirit bomb at me, I would just teleport away from it, and you would have to charge another one, which will take you even more time. It will give me an advantage. It will let me like hit you.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll address the easiest one. The easiest one being the one where said like it takes a while to charge, so he'd be open.
Yeah, because with the spirit bomb, you're just putting your hands up, and it takes a long time for you to actually charge the spirit bomb and throw it at somebody.
That would be true if this. That would be true in like a regular sense, but once we get into like how they used it the last time, I'll just like show it to you and why won't this go? Okay, here. Oh my god, this won't work. Okay, hold up. My YouTube's messing up.
That's fine. Take your time.
Go.
Well, I'm still here.
But I mean, it's finally started working. Now I'm just like trying to get it up. Okay, so here's like in zone 1 here.
All right, let me
on the matter of like him being open when like he's using the spirit bomb, I could honestly have I could do a bunch. I could actually have a bunch of ways I could counter that, but I think I'll just go for like the simplest one here. Let's go. Here right here. Wait, hold up. Okay, go to one. Okay, go to one. Okay, so from the way this is going, the spirit bomb would only take about 2 minutes to charge, I guess. Oh, he got really faster with it than in the Boo Saga. Okay, so basically go to 140.
140, okay.
Hey, did the video get there? Okay, go to 140.
Yeah, it did. Let me just go to 140. 140.
Okay. Basically what's happening is that while he's charging the spirit bomb, he has defenses around him, and because at this point, so these are the defenses that would keep him safe from like being attacked when he has the spirit bomb up. As you see, Omega Senwan tries attacking him, and then he realizes that the attacks didn't penetrate with the shields that were around him.
Okay, so basically, I'd argue that. Okay, now, I would ask you this: do you prove that this doesn't just work on a physical level, and this also works on a conceptual and narrative level?
What?
Like the shield can the shield protect itself from conceptual or narrative attacks? Yes or no?
The shield protect itself from conceptual or narrative attack?
Yes, either of those. Can it protect himself from that? You would have to prove why.
Can I see like some examples of narrative hacks?
I'll just show narrative first, and then if you ask me, and then this works. All right, let me grab. Actually, I put it over here. Okay, here we go. So basically, what I would argue is that Bill has shown to have consistent plot hacks and control over the verse, as seen in the theme song, in the Weird Beginning theme song, where it states that Gravity Falls was created by Bill in the end. It's around the end. It's like when the theme song kind of finishes and it shows the theme song name, or the show's name. It says on the bottom like created by Bill. So the plot and everything in the verse is created by Bill. And it's also stated that Bill is the boss of the creator of Gravity Falls, aka Alex. So I would argue that Bill consistently has control narratively over his verse. So I would argue that Bill would kill Hero on a narrative level, to the point where he can't even block it for like because like basically, oh my god, I can't explain myself anymore. Okay, so I would argue that since you haven't yet proven that your force field works on a narrative level, I would argue that I would just negate you on a narrative level and use the narrative to kill you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just look this over real quick. Okay, I know it's here somewhere. Oh my god. Like, which ones have this again?
Both. Because the first scan is both scans are showing plot hacks, because the first one is showing that Gravity Falls was created by Bill, and the second one is showing that Bill is the boss over the actual creator of Gravity Falls, meaning that he has control over the verse and its narrative consistently.
So he has control over like the verse.
Yeah, and its narrative, because the thing with this is he's considered not only the creator of the show itself, not just the verse, a lot like the universes or anything, just like the show itself, which would include the narrative. He's also the boss of the person who even created the idea of the show in the first place, the narrative of the show in the first place, and he's the boss of that, meaning that he should have plot hacks and like control over the verse on a narrative level. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question about that though.
Alright, what's your question?
So like he's like the boss of the wider.
No, he's the boss of the literal creator of the entire verse.
Creator.
Yes. The person who created the very idea of Gravity Falls, Alice Hirsch.
Okay, so he's his boss.
Yes. So he has more power over the verse than Alex does. He's the creator.
Okay, so so if that's true, then why did he get beaten at like the end? Does that mean like he made his own defeat?
That could mean it, because to be fair, if you had the boss win, what would happen then? Wouldn't it be really interesting?
And that's one way to look at it, but at the same time, he looked like genuinely surprised, and he actually had gotten fooled by that. If he was like the boss of the creator of the entire like Gravity Falls, he shouldn't have been surprised by that. He should have seen that coming, but instead he was left surprised by that, and he couldn't get himself out of like the situation.
Now, to be fair with that, the thing with that is that this tweet is actually after Gravity Falls. I would argue that statement just doesn't matter at all, because I could argue that it wasn't established that he was the boss until after Gravity Falls. I'll just argue that your claim makes no sense via like the times that these came out.
So this statement was made after like the show ended.
Okay, so I just posted this. It says Gravity Falls, created by Bill Cipher. This is the one that was created in the time frame of Weird Mageddon, where it was his defeat, right? But the Twitter post was created after the show ended, the season 2 ended, Weird Mageddon ended. So,
but did Weird Mageddon come before or after like he gets trapped in like Sanford's mind?
That was in Weird Mageddon.
Oh, that wasn't Weird Mageddon. Oh, it was.
Yes,
that was season 2, right?
That was the very end of season 2.
Okay, and this statement was made after season 2?
Yes, the Twitter statement was made after season 2. Also to go back to your other point, why he's surprised, there's a thing called acting, because you know how like Bill is just like the he has power like over the creator of the verse, so he should be like kind of like a voice actor. So I would argue that he was just like acting the whole time, because he would have just knew he would have knew everything that happened. He would have knew the defeat. He would have knew how the Weird Mageddon would go. He would have knew everything. And plus, if he's like above creator, that he would have made the ideas himself for him to be defeated. So I would just argue that even though he was defeated, that could have just been his own doings, considering he's like the creator of the verse, and even above the real creator of the verse.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So like he was acting surprised that he was defeated, when in reality he's the one who crafted his own defeat, because it would be more interesting.
Yeah, and plus the thing with this too is that the axolotl, he knew that the axolotl would have brought him back anyway. Because let me actually grab these scans, because it's supported in Gravity Falls. This one.
Hey, wait, I know like you're looking for it, but is this like in character for him to do? Like he would in character do that?
Do what? The narrative thing?
I like, the whole, faking his defeat because it would be more interesting thing.
Well, that wasn't really part of the point, technically, because I wasn't arguing that he was going to fake his own defeat. I was arguing that he could.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I'm just saying.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
I didn't mean it like that. What I meant as in like, is it like in character for him like do like the whole creator of like the thing narrative thing, you know, like he's like the boss of the creator of the thing, like that thing.
That's not technically like an in character, out of character thing. His position is being the boss of the creator of the verse. So it doesn't matter if it's in character, out of character. That's the role that he was picked to do. So that means he would just have it inherently. He wouldn't need it to be in character to do such things. He inherently
okay, you can go.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go on now. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay.
No, it's fine.
Find something here.
And then also something that I actually brought up was that the thing with that too is that there's this thing where if he says the axolotls like forbidden words, he would come back in a different time with a different form, which is also supported in The Simpsons when one of the guys says, "Oh, I have many forms," and then it was like Jesus, it was Loki. Let me actually grab that too. This is Bill reference. But Simpsons also support that the axolotl was bringing him to a different time, a different form. So I would argue that he did create his own defeat only because like he knew that he was going to come back anyway. Even if it was as a different form in a different time, he was still going to come back no matter what, as long as he said the axolotl's words. And let me grab the Simpsons thing real quick.
He was in The Simpsons?
Yeah, he was in The Simpsons. It was one of the latest episodes of Simpsons. It was just one short reference. Then this short reference gave us a lot to work with. Like it states that it shows that Bill is Jesus. Bill is Loki, the god of mischief. Bill's all these people, which supports the axolotl statement of axolotl was sent into a different time, a different form.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically let me just go back to my first point. I would argue that your defensive mechanism wouldn't even matter because that would just affect you on a narrative level.
Okay, so these are the forms he took?
Yeah, these are the forms. Like, he took Jesus's form, he took Loki, the god of mischief's form, and a couple more. Like, I think he took, like, a dragon's form.
Okay. So, can I ask you, so is this, like, canon, and it's not, like, something, it's not, like, a gag just from The Simpsons?
Well, since... Okay, so there's a couple things showing that these like verses are kind of connected to one another. One of the things is that Simpsons and Gravity Falls are owned by Disney Plus, or just Disney in general. There's also the fact that Marvel was shown to be connected into Gravity Falls as well, which are owned by Disney. And it is also the fact that Bill's outside his verse, so anything in Disney should be canon to Gravity Falls. It's like, Alex works for Disney, meaning that like Alex is part of the Disney multiverse. Bill being outside the verse with Alex means that everything is also canon to Bill. So I would argue that's canon.
I would argue it's canon. Wait, did you say? Wait, so part of like why it was canon was because they're owned by Disney, right?
And since Bill transcends to Alex's plane, which Alex contained within the multiverse of Disney, I would argue that everything in Disney is also connected to Bill as well. Everything is canon to Bill. Everything in Disney is canon to Bill.
The Simpsons is but The Simpsons only recently added to Disney though.
It doesn't matter. They're still in Disney regardless, are they not? Also, Disney Plus wasn't made recently. Simpsons were. Plus, I think the Simpsons were like with them for a while, just like Family Guy. So, yeah, I would just argue that. Even though they just got added recently, if they got added recently, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they're still within Disney. They're still within the Disney multiverse. now at this point. So I would argue that now, since they're in the Disney multiverse, they're canon to Bill as well. Anything that Bill has in The Simpsons is canon.
Oh, you would just like argue that.
Yeah, I just kind of want to stop backtracking here a bit because I think this is like pointless because this is just a point I wanted to bring up, like for my plot point. But I wanted to go back to the main point real quick. Now my question to you, which I'm going to ask again, is can you prove that your defense mechanism works on a narrative level?
Okay, so while I am still a bit iffy on the Simpsons thing, you have kind of shown that like he is basically the creator. He talks to like the creator, and he basically controls the creator of Gravity Falls. Okay, so like you showed that, like basically he tells the creator what to do, basically.
Yeah, like it even states that Alex states that I'm talking to my boss, which as we see in the image is Bill Cipher. So yeah. So my main point is just that Bill has more control. He has more power over the Gravity Falls and its narrative than the creator himself. So that's what I'm arguing.
Yeah. Wouldn't that only be in Gravity Falls though? This is like a neutral area.
If it's a neutral area, then that would make it better for me, because the narratives and the cosmologies would just be lower than mine. So I could just affect it with relative ease. It's easier for me to affect this narrative than the other narrative in my verse.
He can.
You would have to argue that this narrative is higher than mine. You have to argue that this narrative is on like another level that I can't even control on a narrative level. You would have to prove that.
To be fair, like just because he could control Gravity Falls doesn't really mean he could control like other narratives, though. Especially considering the neutral space wouldn't really even have a narrative.
Can you prove that?
I was mostly just like saying that, and like I know you said like that he was like he commanded the creator of Gravity Falls, so therefore like he's like the sole authority of like the Gravity Falls verse. But like, what I was thinking is like, it's because like he's the sole like authority there. Would that mean like he would be the sole authority somewhere else, like in a neutral space?
Now, here's the thing with that. I wasn't asking you to prove that yet. I was asking you to prove that this neutral area doesn't even have a narrative in the first place. Because I would argue that our fight is contained within a narrative for it to happen. Our fight has all the things of a regular verse. It has a space, it has a time, it has concepts, it has narratives. You can't just say that the verse doesn't have a narrative. It has this fight has a narrative. This neutral background has a narrative. Because if it didn't have a narrative, then we wouldn't even be able to fight in the first place. You need a scripted narrative to have a fight.
That is indeed true, but you also left out one important. But there was one important thing that was like left out of that thing.
What?
Wait, that narrative that's a narrative that the two of us are making, not like the creator that like Bill has like domination over. The guy who made Gravity Falls. It's not, and I would so with that statement I would ask, would he have this same ability over another creator that did not make Gravity Falls?
Okay. So basically. Let me just say this in terms to be better to understand. So basically, I'm arguing that I have more power over someone who can create a verse higher than a neutral background. Because the neutral background, a neutral background is normally a normal background, which is normally like maybe like high uni, around there like 3D. While I can just say that my verse is above 3D, which I can argue real quick. I can just give some cosmology scans if you want. I'm going to give you some cosmology scans of Gravity Falls real quick.
Huh?
All right. All I have to really argue is 4D. Give me a second.
Thought this was like I thought we were like equalizing.
Yeah, this is equal stats, right? Like only stat, like the AP speed is gone, right? But I could still argue my hacks is to a higher level. And since you're trying to say that because this isn't Gravity Falls, I can't affect this, I'm going to argue that my narrative that I have power over is better than this just random narrative that's lower than my narrative. Or the lower
why automatically just assume this is a lower narrative though?
Because that's what you said. Neutral territory. And also I'm just going off based assumptions. I'm just going off of like I don't know the word, but I'm just going off of like normal things that would happen in a normal like cosmology, which you're saying this is a neutral background, which you would also have to prove that this neutral background is higher than a narrative that I have control over. If you don't prove that, then I could just argue that my narrative is higher than this narrative that we have here. Oh, what's this?
Oh wait, hold up. I need to find like the timestamp for it.
Oh, okay. I know what you're gonna review. I'm sorry, but you can go on.
Okay, like
My back.
like just the whole thing, really.
Alright.
Oh wait, no, not the whole thing. Just go to 40 seconds.
Can I already know what you are. Can I refute this before you argue it? Because I already know what you're gonna argue.
And like this is just like I just put these in case because like okay, so like you said you were getting that stuff for like the stuff. You said you were getting like that stuff for the 4D Gravity Falls
4D narrative
thing.
Yeah, 4D narrative. Yes. Let me
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so like I know like I mean like you can get that, but like at the like okay, so what is this supposed to do again?
Okay, so basically it states that there's this thing called the bottomless pit. It's like like everything in the cosmology is like bound to the narrative. So basically I would argue that this bottomless pit is considered fourth dimensional. So I would argue that my narrative is at least 4D and I can affect people on a narrative level, like a 4D narrative level. So I would just argue that my narrative is higher than this neutral ground narrative. And if you want to oppose that, you would have to prove that this narrative, this neutral territory narrative is above my narrative.
So why is there like the assumption that it would be lesser though?
Why it'd be lesser? Because normally a normal cosmology, which is what this neutral cosmology is, unless you can prove me otherwise, is just
I've never said normal cosmology. I said neutral cosmology.
I never said you said that. Don't try to storm-man me now. I never said you tried to say that. That's my words. I'm saying about a normal cosmology. I never said that you said that. I'm just saying based off a normal cosmology, which would include a neutral cosmology. They're literally the same thing, unless you can prove that this neutral cosmology is higher than my cosmology. I would argue that narrative, that cosmology is just 3D. I've proven my narrative is 4D. So I'd argue that my narrative hacks works on a higher level than this narrative could even contain. I never said
so
that. You said it was a normal cosmology. I never said that. So don't go try and strawman me.
I didn't mean it. No, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. What I meant was like what I meant was that like I thought like you might have misheard me like when I said that. I didn't like think you were strawmanning me though.
I didn't mishear you. I know you're saying like a neutral territory, and that I can affect a neutral territory. I would have to prove that I can affect a neutral territory, not just gravity falls. Yeah, I know what you said.
Okay, so what you're saying is that this would be a normal 3D cosmology because that would be neutral.
Yes, like a neutral territory, which neutral territories on base assumptions, normal assumptions that people would make, casual assumptions, known assumptions are normally just 3D, regular 3D. Well, I just proved that my narrative is 4D. So,
did you prove that the neutral normal assumption would be 3D? Because that's kind of like a big statement.
Because a normal cosmology, a base cosmology, only contains a space-time, which space-times are only really 3D, which you would have to prove they're 4D. Space-times are only really 3D. 3 dimensions and 1 temporal dimension, which are like the human world is just a 3rd dimension. Basically, a normal base cosmology only contains a space-time, which is only 3D. So I would argue that this narrative, this cosmology is only 3D unless you can somehow stack it, which you would have to prove and send scans for.
I mean, I never would have made the assumption that it was any type of deep to begin with. So I only said it was neutral. I never made any other like statements besides that.
And
so,
now I'm adding on that it's only a 3D neutral structure. I'm just adding on to what you're saying.
Okay, but like, so you added, but that's still like the thing that was added on by you. So you would need to like prove that.
Added on by me, and I already proved it. I've been telling you. Normal based cosmology / narratives are only 3D, and I proved why they're only 3D. Only contain space-times. Space-times are only 3D. Okay. Unless you want to prove that your narrative is higher than mine, which I've never said that's what you said. I'm just asking you if you want to prove that this cosmology in the neutral territory is above my cosmology that's already sent, which based on what you're giving me right now, a neutral cosmology. It's just 3D. It's just 3D. That's all you told me.
Can you show me something? Can you show me something that would prove that would be 3D though? Like, can I see like some evidence of it or something? Like maybe like the meaning of the words or something.
Meaning of the words?
Yeah, cause like if neutral would be 3D, then like it shouldn't really be that hard to like post like some words that or like a description or like an explanation. You know, like we'll post like something that would show that instead of like just saying it.
Listen, a neutral. I will explain what a neutral territory is again. A neutral territory is a normal territory. Nothing added onto it. It's just a random background that you two fight in. That these two characters fight in. It's a normal background which isn't stacked at all. A normal background that has nothing in it except its space-time. Only 3D, which I explained to you why space-times are only 3D. So that's my answer. I don't need any scans. It's common knowledge that regular space-times and regular cosmologies with nothing stacked on them is 3D.
I want to leave this point to the judges.
Alright, fine. We can leave this one to the judges.
Okay, so like you can go like you and gone now.
Okay. Actually, can the judges this point now? Is that okay with the judges? Can you judge this point now? Okay with the judges? Like Corin and I think Debater, can you judge as well?
Wait, we can actually do that now? Like,
no,
we can do that in the middle?
Just finish the debate.
I don't know. Can you just judge the point now?
Finish the debate.
Can you judge the point now?
Finish the debate.
Y'all can.
Okay,
That's actually an option for real because y'all.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I want you guys
actually
to judge the point now.
just save it to me. You can just save it to the end.
Yeah, but what if it's important for the rest of the debate?
It is important to the rest of the debate, so please judge the point now.
Why are you saying?
Okay.
I never said I was a judge. I don't know. I don't know why you just assume.
I'm just saying if you want to. I asked because there's only one.
Well,
and I know
y'all
you
agreed
think-
for me to be one.
Yeah. I
Like,
was
do
asking.
you want? I mean, like, should we do it now, or like, should we
Yes.
just go on?
Let's do it now.
Wait a second, later.
Okay, I was just surprised we could do that, but I mean, like, it sounds interesting. So, like,
Yeah.
how would we do it now, though?
Well, no, he just judges the point, and whoever wins the point just like has that one win con that they can grandstand or use, which that's what I was planning to do the entire debate.
I haven't. Oh, okay. This was just like new to me. I didn't know like we could do that now.
All right, that's fine. Corin, can you just judge the point now?
Yeah, that's fine. If Fate's fine with it, if both agree,
Okay, that sounds interesting. We can do that.
we'll do a conclusion on that point. Then, like, sum it up, like conclude.
Okay, I'll just start with the conclusion then. I still think I can affect him on a narrative level because I've proven that my narrative is higher than a narrative that we're on right now. I would argue that his point that I can't affect a neutral territory is just false because I proved it. I also proved that space times and the cosmologies, the normal cosmologies are only 3D. And that's basically it. So my conclusion is just I can just affect them on a narrative level. You can go
Okay,
into
so- Okay, thank you. So, like, my conclusion would be that since we were like in a neutral space, I did not think like he provided much for like why he would be able to control like a neutral space. He provided a lot to show why if we were in Gravity Falls, you'd have a good edge. But in the neutral space, there was actually, I do believe there were some assumptions made that it was 3D in the first place instead of like being just a neutral space. That's saying neutral in the end is just like, it's like a very wide definition for neutral. And I think I did like make a good counter as to how him controlling the narrative waiter of Gravity Falls went automatically make him able to control like a new space like that, as well as showing like basically that's like it basically for my completion and conclusion. Oh yeah, that was it.
All right, Corin, you can judge
Okay.
now.
All right, so for this particular point, here, can you mute for a sec? Like this, the thing is, right? So this particular point, I would have to exit out with Badtime on it, give him the point because the thing is, he did give an explanation and also explained a base level assumption and what that actually was. He also read off what a neutral field actually was, right? He went over how a standard universe model is a three-dimensional space with a single temporal dimension of time, which is in itself a base level assumption. Why would you assume higher in a neutral zone? That in itself would be the higher level of assumption. And then you also talked about equal stats. However, Badtime brought up how you only equal like stats and not hacks, which brought him into like arguing a higher narrative. And from what I was hearing, Fate didn't fully contest or rebuttal to that. So I'd have to give the point to Badtime.
All right, thank you. Whew. Anybody else want to put their input on it, or we're guessing that's a no. All right, Fate. You can go on to your next win con. I don't need to go on to my first one. That's all I really need right now. Fate.
Oh crap! Sorry, I didn't
Football?
know. I didn't know I was muted. But like, what I did say was that debater said like he wanted to like say something. Like if we did decide to do it now.
What? Do we even listen?
What? When?
Wait, what? Oh crap! You said you wanted to wait till the end.
Oh.
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm not gonna correct you anymore. Just assume what y'all want.
All right. Fate. You can go on to your second win con.
Wait, wait, it was like your turn, like with the win con.
You know what? I'll just do my second win con. Or my first, I guess. I don't know. Alright.
It's your first.
Yeah. What do I want to do now? Here we go. Okay, so basically, in Gravity Falls, there was this one time when Bill was losing, he was getting sent to another place, and what Bill does in response to this is he just erases everything. He erases the entire mind. He just erases it. I'm going to argue that I can erase you on a mental level. What does Hero have on mental erasure, or since erasure on a mental level?
Hero has access to the energy known as Ki that protects him on like all three levels, like a mental, spiritual, and physical level. So he would just resist it.
Now my question is, how would you? So my question is, can you survive it from just outright being erased? Being able to tank attacks mentally, your mental state just being erased are just two different things. You just have to you have to prove like mental erasure. Which also I just want to bring up that also works on a multiversal level. Let me go grab it real quick.
Wait, what?
Like I said, we didn't do equal hacks, so I can argue my hacks to any level I want. So let me just actually grab this real quick. Where is it? Where is the scan? There you go. Alright, here we go. Zone 1. This one. Okay, so basically, the place that they destroyed is called a mindscape. Now, in Gravity Falls, what a mindscape is, it's a place where there are thousands of doors, which each door contains a different memory. Now, there's this one door in specific that shows that each door has the bottomless pit within it. The bottomless pit, as we established before, our 4D. I would argue that my existence erasure doesn't just work on a regular level, or like my existence erasure on a mental level doesn't just work on a regular level. It also works on a multiversal level. You would have to prove that you can tank existence erasure on a mental level that could affect multiversal beings or just multiversal structures.
Wait, where does it like state that? Like, is there a timestamp for it?
Okay, so the first one is a timestamp where it states there's thousands of doors, and each one is there's a memory in each door. And then the second one shows that the bottomless pit exists within each of these doors. You know, they're like memories and whatnot. So the memory should contain every single thing in that set cosmology, which is shown that it contains the bottomless pit. And you know what multiversal is, right? Like 1,001 or more, like 1,001 or more 4D space times, which I proved which it says 1,000, so we know that it's at least 2,000 or more. I'd argue that I land on the multiversal spot, so I would argue that my existence erasure works on a multiversal level.
Because like the bottomless pit in each memory.
Yeah, there's a bottomless pit in each memory, which we established that bottomless pits are 4D space times.
Okay, hold up real quick. Okay, hold up. Let me get something real quick. Wow, there's a lot here. Okay, here we go. Crap. There you go. I found it, I think. This is it, right?
It hasn't loaded yet, so.
Okay. This is like a Potter, so I'm gonna like right here.
Alright.
Right here.
So
Wait, I should explain what. Oh crap! I thought there was like text there. Oh wait, let me explain. Crap. Okay, so like yeah. Okay, so like you said, like this would be like memory oasis, like on a multiversal level.
Yeah, multiversal level. You would have to prove
so
your
like-
resistance also works on, like, you also have to prove your resistance works on a multiversal level.
So like, look at the bottom one right here.
Alright, which
You
one?
see Zamasu to the right. Yeah, the bottom one. You see Zamasu to the right.
I do see Zamasu.
Okay, so like Zamasu came back as a mentor after Zeno pretty much like erased his like he would like after having the totality of his existence and non-existence erased physically and non-physically across the infinite multiverse by Zeno.
Okay. Alright. So I have a couple things I can do with this. Alright, okay. I'll just bring up all my counters I want. Number one, prove this is on a multiversal level. Oh wait, no, actually, I'm gonna say that later. Number one,
Okay.
it's very blatant. The mentors in this game are different from the ones in the actual story / timeline. Because that, if by that logic, we could say that like Meta Cooler or like Lord Slug, like people who died, just randomly resurrected, which isn't true, because you would have to prove that because they were killed. So it's like very blatant that the mentors are just different from the canonical timelines in like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Heroes, Dragon Ball Zetaverse. Mentors are just different than the ones in the timeline. That's one. Two, you just have to prove that an infinite multiverse would mean infinite 4D, because I'd say that some people will lie. Multiverses don't mean that you're inherently like multiversal. It's just like a thing to combine all universes into one. You would have to prove that the multiverse is 4D, because we both already went over how space-times are 3D, and I won the point of a space-time being 3D. So basically, you would have to prove that these space-times that you're using to make an infinite multiverse is 4D. Because if not, I could just call your little feat there only infinite 3D, which would be far off from what my thing is, aka like I have multiversal. This is, if you can't prove this is 4D, then it's just infinite 3D. I would just be my hacks would just be way above what you can handle. You just gotta prove those couple things.
Okay, so like prove that these are okay. So like for the first one was about like the mentors being different.
Yeah, they're blatantly, because we both play Xenoverse. They're blatantly different. The ones in the canonical timelines, in the little like timelines we go into.
Except these different ones are the ones that Hero was training with. and they came from different timelines.
Yes, they don't just come from different time. Wait, oh, like I said, any of these mentors are just different from the ones that the hero has fought in their canonical timeline. Because if that's the case, then we could just say that Frieza and all the bad guys just randomly regenerated out of nowhere. Even though in history they should be blatantly dead. And Towa and Mira are dead, so you can't just say that Towa and Mira brought them back. They're dead as also. I would just argue that via history being changed, like time itself being changed to where they're dead, I would argue that the mentors are different than the actual canonical versions that the hero's been fighting this whole time.
But since history is like being altered, and these guys are being like pulled from different points in history, and they're also getting amped by like the Migra and like his demon magic, then they would just be more amped up versions of like themselves. Even if they like weren't themselves, that would mean that he's just fighting stronger versions of like the hero, the mentors.
A minute. Okay, so you said that they're the same. You agree that these mentors are different, right? Agree that you agree to that, right? Oh, you said that if they were timeline, so they're different, right?
I mean, they're changing like history.
Yes, so they're not the same. The mentors aren't the same, right? Right? That's what you just said. Admitted. You said that they come from different timelines, so inherently they should be different. Then, because you technically disagree, exactly. So you disagree with me to that. So then I would just argue that by that logic, this isn't regeneration, because you even state that these come from. You even admitted that these are different. These aren't the same ones that got erased. So your regeneration just wouldn't matter because it's the same one that got killed.
That does okay. Like okay, so like I do agree that they are different, but that wouldn't make the feat not matter because he's training with this version of Zamasu, not like the other versions. Training with this one right here.
Yeah, and then you said that one was different, so that one doesn't have the regeneration that the other one does. So like you admitted they were different. Oh, this one that you're fighting right now, the one with the regeneration. If anything, they don't even have regeneration at all. They blatantly just don't have regeneration.
That doesn't make, because they're different doesn't mean that they have different abilities.
I never said that.
Doesn't make.
I never said that. I said
like
because they're different, none of them technically regenerated. Because regeneration is you coming back from it. It's not another one just being randomly dropped off. That's what regeneration is. So since you admitted that they're different, then none of the Zamasus. I'm not saying that they're different. I'm not saying that the Haxes are different. I'm saying that any of the Zamasu just don't have the regeneration. You even said that they're different. They're not the same one. The one that you're fighting right now isn't the same one from the one that just got erased. So then I would just argue that none of them have regeneration. None of them.
Huh?
Huh?
I mean that's still like a pretty big gap. Because like, okay, so basically since they're different, none of them have regeneration. But like the thing about that is just that in the original, Zamasu was killed by when Zeno did this, but this one wasn't.
Exactly,
like the thing,
because they're different. They're not the same thing. So basically, this Zamasu got erased. The one that we're talking about, the one from the original, but the other one didn't because they're literally there. So it's not even regeneration because you once again you stated that you even admitted that these are different. So they just don't have regeneration. They're not the same one. If you could prove this Zamasu is the same one, I'll give you that regeneration. You can't prove this Zamasu is the same one. I'm not going to give you the regeneration because you even admitted, so you can't really backtrack. You can't really backtrack now.
I don't need to backtrack. That's the thing. I don't need to backtrack because it even straight up says that he was generated from this. This version was generated from that, and he laughs it off. That's why he's even there as a mentor. So yeah,
Why
the
does it say
Wisdom
that?
one
Why does
didn't
it say
survive.
that? Because your thing
The
doesn't
fact
even
that
show
he's
any
stand-
text. Your second thing doesn't even
The
show any
fact that he's
text.
standing right there.
Okay,
Seriously,
it
he's
doesn't state
standing
that. It
right.
doesn't state that because you said it states that, but does it state that? You're just showing out of context stuff. That's all you're doing. You're just writing. You're showing out of context stuff. It doesn't even align to what you're saying.
Yeah, what? I thought it would have. Okay, to be honest, I thought it would have text, but it just has like a picture. But there is
Exactly.
like one scene where it does say, and like if you want like me to get like a wording of him saying that, I could probably find it.
Yes, find a statement of him outright saying, "I regenerated from being erased," or something like that. It doesn't have to be exact. Because from what you send me and what you're saying, does not align to what's actually going on. You're just making this more vague than it has to.
Okay, so like here's the statement. Okay, so here's like one. Let me get like the other one. I grab to scale it further down. Okay, so like okay, it's taking a while to load.
Okay. Yo, Faye, after this point, could we just leave it? Could we just like finish the debate after this point?
Okay.
Because I actually have like a birthday party that's supposed to go on in my house in like a couple minutes. I don't know when it is. I just want to be ready for it, so I just want to finish after this like my hacks point. Plus, we both went into one-win console. It's fair.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right, do you want to say anything? Because you're unmuted. Thing.
Wait, what?
Your eyes unmuted.
No, my bad. I switched to my PC off my phone. My bad. Continue. My bad.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
I thought I was muted, but okay.
No, Kira was
so
just
let me
unmuted. I just wanted to ask if you wanted to say anything on this.
Okay, so let me just get it real quick. Alright, crap, where is it?
Okay. But you're putting yourself in.
Top one is a statement that's saying that the Hakai didn't work on Zamasu. And the second one is wait, what one is this?
Wait.
Oh yeah, the second one is him spreading across the timelines and even reaching the Elder Kai timeness.
Okay. So I have two things to say to this. Technically two things because they're two sketch. One, Hawkeye very blatantly has restrictions to it. One, Hawkeye only works on people who are weaker than the user or equal. And two, in this context, which you just gave me, the Hawkeye specifically doesn't work on immortal beings. Doesn't mean that every other existence erasure doesn't work on an immortal being. It's just the Hawkeye. It's the Hawkeye being fodder as it is. It has restrictions. And those restrictions are a huge problem. And two, sorry, I forgot. Two, you going across space and time? Doesn't matter. You know why? Because your character already got negged while being across space and time. This isn't gonna be any different. Plus, I argued, I proved that my existence erasure is better than Zeno's. Because you're just erasing the space time is only 3D, right? I already proved that. We already proved that. We already over that. Your cosmology, your space time's only 3D. Wow, mine is. Well, I already showed that my existence erasure works on a multiversal level. I would just argue that one, Hawkeye has restrictions, so that doesn't mean that all the other existence erasures would work. And two, you already got erased in that form, so it wouldn't matter. If anything, that helps me out. Plus, my erasure is better than Zeno's, so if anything, it would work way better for me than it works with Zeno.
And so like Hawkeye wouldn't work on. So like Hawkeye doesn't work on like immortal beings.
Yeah, but that's only a restriction on the Hawkeye itself. You would have to prove that's a restriction on every other existence erasure.
No, I meant like that's kind of. No, I mean that's kind of like the thing. Like the time wing that he wears protected him from being like erased.
Okay, but the thing with that is that now the problem with that is that this may be true, but he still got erased anyway. Being that erasure that doesn't have that means that the erasure that doesn't apply with the Hawkeye would work. It's like Zeto's. Zeto's erasure doesn't have the problem that Beerus has, which applies to every other existence erasure in fiction. They don't have the restriction like the Hawkeye. I would argue that you could still be erased. It's just that this specific existence erasure just doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay, so like the thing with like the Hawkeye is it doesn't work on the immortality that they have in Dragon Ball Z, but it like would actually wait. No, it doesn't work on the immortality in Dragon Ball Z. Wait, do you know like why it doesn't work on like the immortalities these that they have in like Dragon Ball Z?
It's never stated in specifics, but just know that that's still a restriction regardless of if it's explained or not. Because most restrictions aren't even explained. It's just there. Restrictions are just there. That's the same thing in this context. Like your restrictions, not yours. The Hawkeye's restrictions are just very blatant. One, you can't use it on immortal beings. Two, it only works on people lower and regular than you. Those restrictions don't normally apply on normal existence erasure.
That is true. The reason it's true is like because the Hawkeye can't. It's like actually wait no. The reason it's true is because like the Hawkeye could erase like somebody that was immortal physically, but it couldn't erase someone that was like immortal on like all three levels, which is like what the immortality in Dragon Ball Z would have to essentially do because of like the nature of like the verse.
Yeah, the nature of the verse is that the Hawkeye just can't work on immortal beings. That's the thing. But you would have to prove that it applies to my existence erasure as well.
Well, I don't think I'm not sure if it would apply to your like existence eraser.
Exactly. Yeah. So there we go. We're getting somewhere now. Now, do you have anything else you can do like to resist my existence erasure? Because everything you brought up has been refuted.
Huh?
Yes, everything you have brought up has been refuted. I'm asking you if you have anything else on this point.
Okay, I do have. Okay, wait. So like you said, like that the Dragon Ball Z like multiverse was only like 3D.
Yes.
What?
But if you want to bump it higher, what?
Not like I was asking like what like would like convince you that it would be 4D.
If you convince me it would be 40, you would have to prove that it's on the level that I have. Mine is multiversal. If you could only prove like UD plus or low multi, it just generally won't matter at all. Because mine existence information would be on a way higher level than what you can comprehend with.
What makes like your universe? What makes like the Gravity Falls thing 4D again? I forget.
Okay, so it's basically what you already like. Okay, so the 4D thing you already admitted to, so you can't go back to that. So anything that I say would just be valid. Anything on 4D would just be valid. So basically, as I argued, the mindscape which is what Bill erased, is like there's thousands of doors in that mindscape. In one of the doors, it shows that there's the bottomless pit. And that all the doors, which are thousands, at least 2,000 or more, contains a 4D space time. There's 2,000 or more 4D space times, which hits the thing of multiversal. 1,001 or more 4D space times are multiversal, which I just proved. So you have to prove your space time exists on the same level that my space time does. Yeah.
Okay.
Overrun by Boo.
Okay, like I guess I like concede, and I said I didn't have like all the stuff I needed for this.
Oh, okay. Corin, Vader, I guess. No, just Corin. Anything you want to like say on this? Any diff you want to like establish here?
No, well, it's over now. Just end the recording.